And it's clear to me that this individual feels intimidated and threatened by my masculine energy and my masculine presence, because this he wouldn't have to go into ad hominem attacks unless he did feel intimidated and threatened by my masculinity and my masculine presence.
Greetings, YouTube. This is the Garage Autonomist, and welcome to the Lounge. For 1 week, I would love to trade places with these True Force lonely guys, because you see, these dudes have the one thing that I don't have and would want again: the luxury of time. Yes, I would use a consciousness exchange machine designed by my friend Dr. Belsidus III. I would need first to get rid of the people who I have obligations of either picking up, dropping off, or looking for, or doing domestic partnering with, because although I'm trading my week in the life of the True Force lonely guy, I am damn sure not entrusting my loved ones with a bunch of dudes who could not be trusted to walk a cup of coffee from one end of the room to another. So instead, while I'm taking their lives, they can sit in a large game room with bowls of M&Ms and shit. So I'm living the life of the True Force lonely man. Day 1. I'd stop making videos in my car, since that video will most likely be yet another whiny tirade of how I think women should be and who they should be with. In other words, me. As if I had that right to do so. And then I'd fill up the tank with gas, and I'd call my boss to see if I could put in for vacation days, and I'd drive out to South Dakota to participate in the No Dapple blockade. Yes, it has been announced that the work for the pipeline is supposedly stopped, but some activists and water protectors, knowing their history, ain't having it, and are still there. That's just an aside, though. Anyhow, as for now, there are people still there, and after news that the Army Corps of Engineers were supposedly working on an alternative route, I'd get there and I would take my phone and interview people. I would stay there for about 2 to 3 days, and then I would upload videos to YouTube. Day 4. I'd go back home, clean my bedroom. Yes, the room that I was raised in and now live in as an adult male. I'd make sure to wash my underwear, especially, and sit and unsub all of the Manospherian and gaming YouTube channels. And since moving pictures that capture my attention at a maximum of 8 minutes at a time would be all that I could handle due to my unchecked, undiagnosed ADD, I'd watch very short cooking videos, life hack videos, and to get an idea of what hobbies I should take up on next. Day 5. I would commit to 3 hours of getting to know my community again. I might talk to random old people and ask what the hood was like some 30 years ago to see what needs can be done today. I try to grasp what could be done immediately in my community where I could be needed as a volunteer. Day 6. After looking up bars where storytelling or art gets shared, or people who I might never would hang around would gather, I will learn that taking a chance like that might put me in contact with others who might want to hear about my time at Standing Rock. Maybe one of them will become friends with me. They might share info on a good therapist who has been helping them. I might even meet a woman who will find that I have my own life made up of cool interests, and I've done some cool shit. It might wind up being a friendship or more, or maybe even nothing at all. The point is, I have had access to a great deal of time as a True Force lonely man to work on myself and improve my life. I chose to change, to stop being a miserable piece of shit, demanding the world of everything it does not owe me, especially women. Then I'd switch back lives with these dudes, and hopefully they'll get the fucking lesson. Or maybe not.
My masculine energy and my masculine presence.
So I've been playing around with the idea of making another channel, this time focusing on the manosphere. I think my audience is losing their patience with me, so the content when I'm talking about these dudes, or them seeing me go to their channels for debates and shit. And shout out to Phoenix Chastain for doing what I like from my subscribers, and that's being critical and expressing their opinions on the content. The channel I want to do will focus on their fuckery. But do I really want to address the basement dwellers, the high top fades of hatred, and the mumbling hoodies? You know, in other words, the help. The employees behind the counter of social media's manosphere. Or should I really just focus on the management. Well, I'll cross that bridge when I find it. See, during my appearance on Thursday night's episode of Obsidian Radio, I figured I should go ahead with the idea of that channel because as the discussion went south into a dogmatic free-for-all, I knew that these dudes really don't deserve to have their ideas and their beliefs given dignity anymore. When you are challenged on whether or not you can be debated on over a subject matter like pickup artistry, simply because you didn't read a whole bunch of books on pickup artistry, even though the amount of research that I've done on it, reading their blogs, looking at forums like Return of Kings and so on and so forth, I knew that Obsidian was missing the plot. See, the thing is, I don't need to read Mein Kampf to know that white supremacy is a bad thing. Pickup artistry, and this is the only thing you'll ever need to know about it, they are dating techniques in order to bed the vulnerable, the inexperienced, and possibly the drunken and insecure. In other words, 13-year-old girls or women with low self-esteem. It is basically like the Jedi mind trick.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
I can't understand how we got by those troops. Force can have a strong influence on the weak-minded.
Also, there were times when I saw that I was going to get pushed into defending certain positions that I normally would never really be defending, such as reformist programs like welfare, which most of us on the revolutionary left sees as a tool to tie down and pacify the permanent underclass, while we have an analysis on countering the lies around welfare, how much it really costs as opposed to irradiated bullets and bombs. We understand that it is capitalism as a failed system that breeds poverty and has underdeveloped the working class communities and working class communities of color, that has truly made these communities into bomb craters, not welfare recipients. The Obsidian platform does not allow in any way, shape, or form for clapback at these Fox News-like hot-button topics, because clapback for these things require historical and socio-political context. In other words, you need the time to talk. The new channel will probably only have a video every 2 weeks, sort of like a cringe compilation of these dudes. As far as Garage Autonomist, this does not mean content on patriarchy and feminist ideals will be discontinued. Nothing could be further from the truth. It'll just be serious and less trolly. Besides, picking on these weirdos and misfits and future convicts of mass shootings is starting to make me feel like that I'm bullying them. I mean, talking about misogyny and patriarchy in the black community is needed, and it should happen in order for the black community to reimagine itself and move forward. And I guess that is the point, because in the end of the day, these kinds of dudes, these women haters, aren't really needed around us. And I could see them siding up with the state, the killer cops, the ruling class against us if we come to a revolutionary phase of struggle. Would make it just that easy. I'm thinking of calling the channel the Mangina Monologues or Dispatches from the Fortress of Simptitude. What do you think? So okay, FoxyJazzabelle, I see where you were coming from last month. It wasn't that I was surprised going in on Obsidian the last 2 times. It's just the level of ignorance, both from the host of Obsidian Radio and the audience, that showed me that that kind of dialogue wasn't going to last too long. Which leads me to remembering something. There is a reason why I go to a Dominican barber. Because if he does start to talk the usual barbershop caterwauling of half facts, wild generalizations, opinions, myths about women, and antidotes presented as facts, he'd be doing it in a Spanish dialect that I'm not familiar with. And therefore, I could just close my eyes and let the shit go while I get my fucking haircut. So it might be a while before I'll consider going to Obsidian's show again. In the meantime, I do plan on adding an extra cool people's spotlight hangout session. I'll give a less lamer name when I come up with it. And with those sessions, I'll be talking to people like Elm City and Phoenix Chastain. And then I would like to do a Black Left roundtable and invite Black anarchists, communists, and Black autonomists like Huey and Lorenzo Camboa Irvin and Kali Okuno. And then I really need to talk geek culture and sociology with none other than FoxyJazzabelle. So watch out for that. Lastly, I want to talk about being called a fag or a simp and a mangina. For the latter, those are just infantile names that were just made up. Names rooted in some dude's insecurity because they need to police how other men fall on the side of gender conflict. As far as being straight or gay, you should not let being called the F word be seen as an insult, because there's nothing wrong with gay people, and there's nothing wrong with gay men in particular. Let that shit be like as if you are a black man and somebody calls you a chink. See? It should not make any fucking sense. I know that as a straight man who doesn't hate the LGBT folks and has lots of LGBT friends and family members, that I'm secure with myself not to give a flying colorful fuck about being called anything. Most of the times, these dudes need to call another man they don't like gay or homophobic slur because they're usually gay themselves. I think that's a scientific fact or something like that, or well, maybe it isn't. But let's just lie to these dudes and say it is so that they'll commit a hate crime on themselves. Anyway, peace. This is the Garage Autonomist, and drive home safely from the lounge.
My masculine energy and my masculine presence.